Welcome to Xogot's modular series on 3D game development. This video will introduce the Area3D node and show how it works with signals. An Area3D is similar to a sensor. It keeps track of what enters and exits its collision space. In turn, this can be used to trigger related events. Area3Ds might be used for all sorts of things. That might include a hitbox or a hurtbox, a trigger for opening a door or a platform moving, a portal, a notification that you reached the goal, and all sorts of things. So I'm going to start just with my root node selected, and I'm going to add an Area3D, and this is going to act as a fall sensor just to keep track of if my player falls off of the platform. So I'm going to take a moment just to rename that descriptively. All right, there we go. Now my Area3D does need to have a collision shape. I'm going to choose a new box shape and then just give that a size. So I'm going to have this be a little bit larger. All right, there we go. And I'm just going to slide it down so it's definitely underneath the various platforms. Now that that is set up, let's take a look at the Area3D. So when you have monitoring turned on, it's just keeping track of what's entering and exiting from the Area3D. If it's monitorable, that means that other Area3Ds can keep track of it. And then we have some different forces that we can work on to override some of the default settings. But the important thing is actually connecting the signal for your Area3D. So signals allow nodes to communicate with each other. The philosophy in Xogot is call down, signal up. In a script, calling down allows the parent nodes to access their descendants through the parent-child relationship. Parents know where the children are. Children don't necessarily know how to reach other nodes, so instead they use signals to communicate. Think of this like using a walkie-talkie. A child makes an announcement on the walkie-talkie, others can hear the announcement, but only the intended recipient needs to respond and do some sort of action. Signals can be set up to emit due to button presses, mouse interactions, physics bodies entering or exiting the Area3D, or even other Area3Ds entering or exiting the Area3D. So over in the sidebar, I'm just switching to the signal area, and I specifically want to make a signal for when the body enters. Now, to be able to connect this signal here, I actually need a script that it's going to be connected to. So I'm just going to go to my game node. I'm going to create a script. I'm going to change the location that the script is going to be located in. And then I'm going to give my script a name. I always like to keep my scripts in a script folder. Okay, there we go. You'll notice there are some templates here. I'm actually going to use an empty script and create. All right, so my script is all set. I'm going to make sure that the Area3D is active. And now, if I come over to body entered and click on that, it wants me to connect my script, and I just need to specify where. So it needs to be a node that has a script. So in this case, my game node, and I'm going to connect. So what that did was it created an on-body entered function that is connected to my signal. So whenever a physics body enters into the collision shape of the Area3D, this function is going to run. Now there's a body parameter that just represents whatever the physics body happens to be, and then pass is just a placeholder until there's actually information. I'm going to be changing this to a print so that I can print a message in the output just to make sure that everything is functioning properly. So I'm going to print the body parameter, so it'll let me know what physics body is actually entering. And then I'm also going to have a string, and it's going to give me some sort of message. So I'm going to say that the body fell off the platform. All right, there we go. I'm just going to save the current version of the script. And when I go to play the game, I'm going to just fall off. You can see in the output, the player is the character body. It fell off the platform. So that is working perfectly. Now I'm going to go back into the script, and I'm actually going to have falling off the platform trigger the scene reloading so that the player goes back to the start and they can try again. Now I'm going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to call a method called callDeferred. And what callDeferred does is it makes sure that the frame is finished processing before it runs whatever function you're calling. And that just prevents weird issues with things being in process when you're reloading a scene, when you're changing from one scene to another, when you're quitting the scene, any of that sort of things. Always a good idea to use callDeferred. And so I just need to have the name of the function I'm going to be calling. Generally speaking, people usually put an underscore in front of the name and then deferred, and then whatever it is you're calling, the name of the function. So in my case, I'm going to say reload current scene and close parenthesis. All right. Now on another line, I'm going to create that function that I just mentioned. I need to type it exactly the same way I did in callDeferred. So underscore deferred reload current scene. And then a colon. And from here, actually, from there, empty parentheses, then the colon, and then I can go down to the next line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using getTree to access the scene tree, dot reload current scene, and those are default methods that we can use. All right, I am going to save the file, and let's take a look at what happens when I fall. And the scene reloads. So that is working perfectly. I do want to mention that right now, this is a local signal, so it's happening inside of this one scene, and you can use local signals for a lot of things, but you can also set up signals to work globally and communicate more broadly so that you can communicate from one scene to another scene or one script to another script. They're capable of a lot when combined with the right scripting. So have some fun experimenting, and we'll be back with more videos.